Hello, and welcome back. Welcome back to the Daily Conjecture Vlogcast. Hope you're having a good day so far today. So we can jump right into today's subject here. Leave off from my inability to post yesterday in the long-form content that we've been doing so far here in this series. So this is good. All right, and then so normally that's something to do in before hitting record. So hopefully the audio for this is fine. I meant to bring. I don't think I have it with me, but I meant to bring the microphone that I have to experiment with that to, actually get some good audio for these bits that I've been doing. So let me just pull this up here. All right, we can get into it. And something I've been thinking about is the difference between going into something with a plan, having a substantial plan, versus going into it just head first, without a plan, without much prepared, just getting right into it, just jumping in, and what the difference in that learning experience is. Like the difference in learning after you've prepared so much, how much room is there left to learn versus jumping right into something that you have no experience in, and then that promotes, or maybe it produces a very significantly larger learning curve. And it's definitely interesting, especially in terms of the difference in going to school or being professionally trained, or obtaining a degree versus just going right into that career path or something like that. That acts as the experience gaining. And then eventually you just keep at it. You're going to gain momentum, and as you go throughout that process, having basically been whatever that looks like, if it's being self-taught, or just simply learning as you go, any of the kind of opportunities out there for mentorship, apprenticeship. Actually, at one point there was a job opportunity presented to me. It was actually by the general manager at the job that I work at now, the job I'm about to go to. And it was for working in electrical engineering, because I think maybe he'd overheard my interest in getting into different trade work, and just learning skills in those types of positions, those fields in those types of trade jobs, construction, electrical, plumbing, any of that kind of work. So I think he'd overheard me talking with one of my coworkers about that, and so I definitely think about, I definitely it definitely interests me to see what the difference in that is like. So learning new skills, actually, spending quality time perfecting your craft, and eventually having that play out in a way that enables you to either get that job that you're trying to go for, or simply just having those skills, having the knowledge to be able to actually do the projects and that you want to do. And so, and even though this video will be somewhat shorter, just because, again, me trying to manage, that's what I alluded to yesterday, managing time. And so as I'm getting into the weekends is always a little bit tricky. It's Friday today, so that's where I try to be mindful about that, as especially before I start my shift, knowing, basically planning out my day around when I'm going to work. So I know this video might be a little bit less content, but let me see if I can. This will absolutely have to. I'll absolutely have to do a part 2 of this video, especially because this one's going to be shorter. But so, do you manage your time well? What does that look like? Again, for those of you who haven't seen any of my content, any of this, all of this, these questions, these inquiries, these, wondering how do we live and thrive and survive and progress, and get better and better, and really just come into our full form as individuals, and that enables us to go out and actually live our lives in a very full manner. So that's why, especially, really all of the content that I've posted so far is, at some point there will be part 2, part 3, kind of just continuing on, with this narrative of how do we live, what are the questions that we're asking ourselves, and of course the main question for this, especially for this series, as we kind of hash out these different topics, is helpful or hurtful. So that's the main question asked there. You ask yourself that in a conflicting situation. You ask that of someone else if they're, maybe causing trouble or just conflict. If they're expressing their frustrations verbally in a complaining manner. But you don't want to just let it stay there. Try to help that person along if it's a matter of them changing their mindset, maybe seeing something through a different perspective. You're giving them your perspective, your viewpoint, and it, in a helpful way. You're not just, pushing yourself on them. You're doing it in a way that's helpful, so that hopefully both parties, anybody that's around, can gain something out of that in a positive way. So couple of notes for managing time is linear. It's always moving forward, right? Kind of like the song, right? That Fly Like an Eagle song. Time keeps on slipping into the future. So it's like that. It is absolutely nonstop, always moving. We're always, we're always getting older. Life keeps moving forward. We as humans learn to adapt to that, and we simply must. And so the other thing that I have here is having a balance between efficiency and patience. And what exactly does that mean? What does that look like? Being able to carry out your tasks in an efficient manner without stressing yourself out, without being, becoming frustrated easily. That's where the patience element comes in. Learning to love yourself, let yourself go in a positive way. You're not just, you haven't been spending a substantial amount of time in your life. You haven't been spending years having something built up, and then something happens that triggers you to just unleash hell, right? Just to unleash terror or chaos in that way that could be potentially hurtful to you, to those around you. If you have an outburst at work and can cause you to lose your job if you're not in control, right? But having that in mind of there being a balance between doing your work consistently, being productive, being efficient, and also just having that patience in your mind as you're going about your day, carrying out your tasks, but also being realistic too, in the way of that depending on what your normal workflow looks like. If you are used to being like busy, working in a quicker manner, then you have to be mindful of the times that might be slower, where maybe you're not getting a lot of business. And how are you spending that time? Are you focusing on marketing? Are you focusing on advertising? Are you building your social media? Are you networking? Are you connecting with others? Are you getting on LinkedIn and Facebook? Any platform where you're actually like trying to reach out, gaining clientele, looking for partnerships, looking for sponsorships, and of course this is all like in terms of like having progressing your business along in that kind of sense. But just in a more general sense, on the human level, even keeping that in mind too, just developing that sort of those networking skills, those communication skills, social media, utilizing all the tools at your disposal to really just have everything. You want to set up for success. You want things to play out so that it flows in a more natural way, in a more positive way, so that perhaps you might spend a few hours on an ad, you might spend a few hours on a thumbnail for a video, but it's for a purpose. It is to gain more views, gain more clientele, get the word out there in a faster, more efficient manner, that is again utilizing all the platforms so that that you're reaching the maximum potential there, to gain more awareness of whatever your product or service, whatever your initiative, your whatever your movement is. So having that in mind as you go about makes it like, so one thing that I think about is essentially just making it a priority to do as much as I possibly can in the earlier parts of the day, especially if I'm going to work on the weekends, working at night. The way this weekend looks right now, I'll be working all day tomorrow, Saturday, and maybe all day Sunday too. I'll have to go and check. But so then at that point is absolutely me making the most of the time that I have, and really trying to be mindful of that. I do have a few things that I want to do within the next few weeks, basically taking advantage of the summertime. So hopefully I can make some content on that. And again, just because of my, just a bit of a time crunch now, with today's post will act as part one. I'm looking forward to continuing this and absolutely making sure that I'm doing a part two and providing a little more insight and a little more after having done a little more research and gather some more notes and be able to finish this out. So thank you for watching, listening, and stay tuned for part 2 on this topic, managing time. Thank you.